You know, I wasn't supposed to be here. Actually, neither were you. But you look good. Damn good. Sexy, even. I don't even have a good story. I'm just a middle-class kid from Scranton who wanted to do a little bit of good in the world and had a lot of wonderful opportunities afforded to her. I passed through a lot of amazing places, but I did so fairly under the radar. There wasn't a lot of excitement when I went through. And after I went to the University of Scranton, I spent most of my time looking for someplace else like the University of Scranton. I've searched high and low, and it doesn't exist. But you could bring Scranton with you wherever you go. I decided that that good thing that I was going to do was medicine. And 10 years ago, when I went into medicine, medicine was still sexy. But family medicine wasn't. Even though I knew I wanted to be a family doc, I heard from mentors and practicing docs and everyone who was wanting to give me some advice that family medicine wasn't sexy, and it wasn't lucrative, and there was too much paperwork, and that family medicine shouldn't and probably wouldn't exist in the future. We didn't need it because it wasn't sexy. So I made it my mission to show the world that family medicine is pretty darn sexy. So let me take you through a day in the life of a family doc. When I told Randy that we found his cancer too late and that we couldn't cure it, he said, "Darling, don't you worry about me. I've had more fun in my life by accident than most people have on purpose. I don't mind if it's last call." He told me he wanted to go play a round of golf, go to the bar, and smoke a joint. And that's what he did. Clifford's house fell on him in the earthquake in Haiti, and his entire family perished. And we had to take his ear off because of the trauma from his house falling on his head. And all he said all night was, "Uncle, uncle, please come get me," again and again in Creole. And it wasn't until I laid down with him that he finally slept. But if you ask the kids in Haiti how they remember the earthquake, they remember it with brilliant color. They don't remember the fires or the dust or the parish or the anger or the hurt. They remember the brilliant colors of Haiti because that's Haitian spirit. And Mary wouldn't consent to her supposedly life-saving surgery until I was there. Not because I was the surgeon, but because I was her family doc. And she knew she wasn't going to survive that surgery, but she told me she wasn't going to go down any other way but swinging. So she invited everyone she knew to her hospital room the night before, and Mary attended her own viewing. When the lullaby played overhead at the hospital, everyone knew that a new baby was born. And Mary said, "You know, when a new baby's born, you just gotta hope it ain't ugly." When Mary died in our intensive care unit, I was in a C-section, welcoming a new baby into the world. That baby wasn't ugly. When you have a day like that, the only thing that's going to make you feel better is a psych patient. And psych patients are nearly impossible to discharge from the hospital because nobody wants them. And I said, "Hey, Rick, how you doing? Do you recognize me? Been taking care of you for 3 weeks now." And he said, "Of course I knew who you are. You look great, baby. I want to tear your scrubs off and paint you blue." And Mike wasn't allowed to sit in the waiting room in our office anymore. We had to bring him right back. You know why? He used to tell the patients in the waiting room, "Did I ever tell you about the time Dr. Taffera tried to kill me?" Spent 18 months trying to get Mike to have a colonoscopy because every man over 50 needs a colonoscopy. Told him, very low risk procedure, we're going to get you your colon cancer screening. And he perfed in the OR. He spent 8 weeks in the hospital and lived to tell about it in my waiting room. And Cindy's not here to tell her story of how I took care of her, because I made a bad call. I made the wrong call. And I made the mistake. And at her funeral, her children hugged me and thanked me for offering her the best care I could. I just started to feel like I was proving that family medicine had sex appeal. And I realized that medicine was losing its appeal altogether. I was burnt out. So I thought the only way to cure burnout is to put my patients back at the center of my care. I'm going to do that. And I started spending 86, 90 hours a week at the hospital, 26, 27 days a month, and I didn't care if I wasn't home. And I was getting burnt out. I realized that I was at a quitting point, but I couldn't quit. I loved the playing field too much. And being in medicine is nothing like Grey's Anatomy. We all know that. So I got myself a plant, because if I could keep the plant alive, certainly things would get better. And if I could keep the plant alive, surely I could keep dogs alive. And then I found faith, and I found spirituality, and it bridged me to a new life. And I found someone to share that life with when I found love. Then I decided to give parenting a try, and all the kids are still alive. And we've got some funny, trying days where you potty train with wine on the floor of the bathroom, and the remote controls in the fish tank, and you always grab a picture of your kid when they're stuck before you get them unstuck. But they're all still alive. And I got a hobby, because if you have kids, you need a hobby. And if your hobby is food and wine, you need a second hobby called running. So I ran my first marathon when my daughter was 3 months old. Let me be straight with you, because it wasn't picture perfect and there's no picket fence around this life. Let me be straight about how it really happened. First, I got engaged and scheduled my wedding. Then I got a dog and I canceled that wedding. Wasn't the dog's fault. Moved out with the dog and the cats, got the survival plant, the hobby, a bunch of wine, and eventually a boyfriend. Got another dog and crossed my fingers that things wouldn't go wrong. Got a house, got pregnant, got engaged. Delayed the wedding for a year because I thought my daughter would make a pretty cute flower girl. Baby number 1 arrived, and I resigned from a hostile and volatile work environment. Scheduled wedding number 2, got pregnant again. My husband's a nurse and I'm a doctor, so we get how it works. Started my new job in an amazing professional atmosphere. Got married with something blue in the womb, and baby number 2 arrived. Now my life is 4 dogs, 3 kids, 2 cats, 1 betta fish, and a whole lot of chaos. And we love it. Let me tell you a little bit about my techniques for work-life balance. It really does take a village. This is me, my husband, my 2 beautiful little children, my stepson, and his mom. My husband's ex-wife is my kid's nanny. They adore her, and she loves my kids the way I love her son. It takes a village. And sometimes work-life balance means that when you go to medical records to sign a couple documents, your kid takes selfies with your boss. Or your kids join in a go-to meeting if you're working from home. Or 30 extra minutes of precious sleep means extra screen time for your kid, and then you find 75 of these pictures on your phone. Leaving a hostile work environment is hard. Making any change is hard. But when you join a new, amazing, professional, warm work environment, it's worth it. Especially if you start to hire some Scranton grads. And cherishing tiny moments, knowing that it won't be like this for long, is the most important part. So I was able to put the patients back in the center of medicine. And my patients started to understand that they were number 1, but that so was my family. So they were in a tie. And my family knows that I can't always choose them, but that when the choice is mine to make, I'll always choose them first.